Good afternoon, traders. Welcome to this week's Elliott Wave Forex and Cryptocurrency Market Analysis webinar. I hope you all had a wonderful week. It's been a very productive week on our side. We've traded over 3,000 pips profit over the last week. So I will show you, we'll go through all the charts and trade setups that we've had and how we traded the 3,000 pips practically in our group, so you can see how to apply wave theory practically. Most of the people can apply, can read the charts, can basically do a basic wave analysis, but the challenge comes where you have to time the market and actually execute a trade. That is where most people trade. You'll find that you can forecast the direction correctly, but even if you know the direction, you're still not able to make money out of wave theory. So I will show you how we have traded the setups that we have traded in the last week practically using wave theory. So the difference with us and the rest of the wave traders is that we've got a special indicator that confirms the direction that we're focused in. So you may have an alternative view, an alternative count when you're using the Elliott wave theory, but how do you then decide which one to trade? So with the indicator, it eliminates the alternatives and shows you which way to execute. And that's what we're going to show you when we do the trade setups. Right, when we do the trade recaps shortly. So if you'd like to contact us, our next course starts on the 5th of October. That is only just 2 weeks away. We've got a special, a 40% special. Inquire before you make a purchase on the website. Our contact details are on the description of all the videos. So if you like to contact us, check out the contacts here. We've got a Telegram channel where I post the live webinar links for these webinars. You can also follow us on TradingView in case we send some charts up there. But if you're looking for all these charts that we post before and after, you can find them on our Twitter pages as well as our Facebook pages. You can just like our Twitter, follow us on Twitter and like our Facebook page. I have been alerted that this Facebook page is going into the wrong one. So the link that will be updated here is a correct one. So please click on that one so you'll see how we trade the charts. You'll see the charts that we've posted before and after and how that is playing out. So the next course, as I've said, is on the 5th of October. It is a 10-day course. So that means we spend 10 days together looking at the market practically. We go through the course from introduction to Forex, Fibonacci, harmonic patterns, and we go into the basic principles of the wave theory in detail, and we spend about half of the course doing practicals, because that is what is important. You can learn the theory and understand it, but when you open it up, a chart, it just looks like one big mess. So we spent 3 days of practical application as well as the 2 seminars on our indicator execution and market correlation. That is part of the 10-day course. So when you make your booking, you can make the booking on the website. Let's just have a look. So you click on the website here, you can go and make a booking on the website and make your booking there. So you'll find the course readily available, recorded on videos. That means when you start with the course on the 5th of October, you already have watched the course and you can engage and ask questions then. Right, so that's that about the course. Check out our website. I'll be referring to the website for some of our setups and how we've looked at them in the week. So that's how we're going to be looking at this now. So before we go on to that, let's do the trade recap. Let me show you how we traded in the week. Practically, this is how we trade practically. So there's a difference between forecasting and trading. Now, this was the forecast on gold that we've had, and I've shown you this. I told you there was a special, it's an interesting setup on gold last week. So this is how we traded gold, and this is how gold has played out. And before we get to the rest of the setups, so if you're looking at gold, so this is how we traded gold. This is the chart before on gold, and this is how it played out eventually. I'll show you exactly where we entered with a stop, how members get this setup. So before that, I want to refer you back to how we traded this or how we analyzed this last week. So this was last week. Let's just go to gold straight. So don't forget, we've got these timestamps that are loaded about 2 to 3 hours after the webinar. So let's go to gold. I want you to see exactly what we said about gold last week. So this is gold last week. Let's just spend a minute here. It was only about a minute analysis. So this is last week. I'm not annotating anything. Whatever you're seeing on the screen is what happened last week. So I was showing you there on gold, the triangle that is possibly playing out there, and how we're looking at that as a triangle, as you can see. That is last week's video. Okay. So I was showing you that there was a first impulse that we're looking as a wave A, and that whole triangle we're looking at as a wave B, right? Then we're looking for that move to go to the downside. That is the move that has played out on gold from right where we were currently at this point here, and we are almost at target. We're about 1860 now. We're about the target is about 1800 on gold. So we've already made this drop. So if you had watched this video, I did say that gold looks very interesting last week. So this is how we traded gold in our group, and I hope you were profitable in that and you made some money. So there was no other way. As you can see, I kept stressing that gold was going to come down. This is last week's webinar. If you can go and check it out on my YouTube channel. So that's how we focused, and that's how accurate this is. Now, how do we get this right? You may have seen this and not know where to enter. Now, this is silver. Now we've already gone to silver, and not know where to enter. That is where our indicator comes in. It tells us when the trade is ready, because for all we know, this triangle may not have been ready. It could have gone up before dropping here. So the indicator tells us when this is ready. Right, so let's resume with our trade recaps on that was gold, and that is how we looked at gold. It will pop up again. I'll show you exactly where we entered. This was the forecast. As you can see, members get this with invalidation levels, so they know when they're looking at the chart when the setup will be invalidated and when it is still valid. Now, this is pound AUD. Now, pound AUD, this is the buy setup. I have to tell you that pound AUD, and I'll show you exactly what happened here. So with pound AUD, we were still expecting that this is going to continue to the downside, but instead this has now made a move to the upside. We even had a trade set up here. I will show you, because I have to show you all the setups, because this is practical. There's no magic in this, so I have to show you the downside, the drawbacks of the strategy, but there's only more advantages than disadvantages on the strategy. So this is pound AUD. This is how it has played out. It played out very well eventually. After we've got the loss to the downside, this is how it played out. Can you see how many pips here? You can do the pip count. You can check how many pips we've got on that. So I'll let you do the work on that one. So that was pound AUD, and that is how pound AUD has played out. Now this is Euro New Zealand. As you can see, the magic here with the analysis, we're looking at this to push up higher and then come down. Now let's have a look at how this one has played out. You can see exactly as forecasted. It makes a correction here, it gives you an entry, it makes a move here, exactly where forecasted. Now we're forecasting downside. Now just make note, guys, I'm not going to repeat these setups again when we do market analysis. So if I've covered it here, I'm not going to repeat it again. So this is Euro New Zealand. What are we expecting out of Euro New Zealand? We're expecting continuation to the downside. Okay, so that is the view for the next week. Then the other trick is also, if we know that this is coming to the downside, do you just come and sell here? What if this does this and just go up here? So you need to get that confirmation that tells you that, yes, the direction that you're focusing is correct and you're going to get it. Right now, this is New Zealand CHF. Let's look at New Zealand CHF. How did it play out? We're looking for this one to make this flat correction. This is New Zealand CHF. And then we're looking for this one to push higher. How did that play out? That is New Zealand CHF. We've got the drop, makes a correction here, makes the drop and makes a push to the upside. Are we going to get this to the upside? That is the view for next week and what we're going to be looking at in the next week. That is New Zealand CHF. Right, silver, you've all seen what silver has done. So while some were trading gold, some were looking at silver to the downside. I traded gold myself because it had a better setup, but if you prefer silver in your inner group, you would have got this trade as well. This is how silver has played out. So this is what was posted on our charts on the website for members. That is silver. Oil, I've shown this a couple of weeks back. If you look at this chart, this was 26th July. So the downside on oil, we focused it from the 26th July, expecting that it was going to make a move to the downside. How did oil go? It went up and then it came down here. I've shown this one last week as well. So this is how oil has played out. So we've had the move to the upside and now we're dropping with this move. What is the expectation with oil? We're expecting continuation to the downside as well for the next week. So watch out for this. Do not just go and sell. You need to get confirmation or use your own strategy for that matter. Okay, you should have a strategy to trade this. Now, this is now AUDCAD. This is a focus on AUDCAD. We looked for this to make a move up here and drop, and that is exactly what you got there on AUDCAD. It is dropping like that. So like I said, you can do the count of the number of pips here, but when you look at this, it's over 3,000 pips in just the last week alone. That is Australian dollar, Canada. Next one here is AUDCHF. AUDCHF, there was a nice entry here. Sell setup on AUDCHF, looking for this one to make a move to the downside. Let's see how this one has played out. Now you do the count. What is the expectation? We're expecting continuation to the downside, right? That is AUDCHF. Okay, that was AUDCHF. This is EURAUD. EURAUD, the expectation was this was going to be a 3 waves up, 3 waves down, and make another 3 waves to the upside. Let's see how this one has played out. All forecasted in the group. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you can do the count. Now this was AUDJPY. AUDJPY, I've updated this last week. This is what we looked at last week, and this is how we forecasted AUDJPY to the upside. So just for your information, guys, I don't do all these charts alone. We've got technical traders in our group, so they do, or we all update these charts differently. So all of us are updating these charts, and you can see that this one was the forecast from here, and we were looking for this one flat correction, and we're looking for this downside here. Now we are 3, and we focus, and we can see the market with the same eyes because we are using the same strategy. Okay, so if we're using the same strategy, we should all have the same direction. Every now and then we will have a different view, but that's only normal. But otherwise, the indicator supersedes everything as far as the wave count is concerned. So this is how our US dollar JPY has played out. So a big thanks to our technical traders. That's why you see we've got all these moves, all forecasted correctly. This is now AUDJPY looking for downside. Okay. Let's see how this one is played out. So this is the yen pairs. The focus was downside, as you can see. We've dropped on AUD yen. I've got out there. So let's go back to AUD yen again. Let's just go down there. Don't know how I got there out there. So this is AUD yen, and this is how it has played out. Okay, AUD yen. And next one is US dollar CAD. US dollar CAD, we have spoken about this last week. So last week we actually came around this level here, and we said this is going to keep pushing up higher. We have now reached the target exactly as forecasted US dollar CAD, as you can see, right? So a clear 3-wave structure. Where to from here, right? Do we expect this one to come down here? That is expectation. We've made a 3-wave move. Let's see if we're going to get a continuation to the downside, or if we're going to get a continuation pattern to the upside. But we're going to be waiting for this. For now, we're seeing the 3 waves that have played. Now, are we going to get this? Is it ready to drop? Let's see. That's what we're going to be looking at in the next coming sessions. Pound US dollar, you can see the pinpointed entry and the stop that members get when we post these setups. As you can see, we've had a stop here. We've got this one showing exactly where to enter. This is now pound US dollar. This one is not done yet. It has not reached target yet, but it's going very well, and it's showing continuation to the downside. So this is where we entered. This is now dropping. This is now continuation to the downside. As if we like on this one, we may even get another entry to the downside until target, which is forecasted to be around, let me just see this number here clearly, which is forecasted to be around 123. So still about 400 pips to go to the target on pound US dollar, which we may still get. Okay, so that's how we get it. Now gold. So gold, this is exactly the entry. Now I've shown you the forecast with just the entry and the drop here. Most of the people will just show you before and after chart, and you find that somebody's showing you a chart that they've posted before, but the after chart has actually gone and done this and then dropped, and then they'll tell you that they have forecasted the move. You've not forecasted the move because you went out of your stop. Now with this, we focus exactly the entry and exactly where the stop is going to be and exactly where the exit is going to be. But this one has gone and crushed the target and some. Okay, as you've seen, the forecast was for this to go around the 18, but we just took the trade around this level and got out of this one here. So some have held on and took the trade based on the forecast. But this gives you exactly where to enter, because that is where most people have challenges. When do you enter? When do you exit? This is British pound, Swiss franc. So like I said, I'm going to show you all the setups, win or lose. This is pound chief. This one has not gone our direction, but it is still downside. So as you can see here, we have hit the stop on this one, but it looks like it's making a three-wave structure here, and it's going to make it drop to the downside. But we're out of this trade. We're going to be out of this trade because it's going to hit the stop anyway. So we're going to be looking for a new entry. Okay, so this will go as down as a loss trade, and we're going to look for a new entry to the downside. Now let's look at the cryptocurrencies. We've had a very good success with the cryptocurrencies in the last week, made some really good forecasts and trades. And you can see here, this is Ethereum. Ethereum, this was the entry, this was the stop, and this is how Ethereum has played out. So whether it is the cryptos or the Forex pair, it is the indicator that tells us when the market, when the trade is ready for execution. As you can see, this one crashes targets in just a couple of hours. This is Ethereum. Let's look at the rest. Litecoin, another one, showing us the entry here. This is the stop. Members get this before they happen, a couple of hours before they drop, and this is how Litecoin has dropped. Okay, so the crypto webinar is going to be immediately after this, so you can check it out. We'll be doing an update on these. So this is Litecoin. This is how it has played out, inch perfect. So like I said, you can count the number of pips or points that we've covered in the last week. So this was only in just the last week alone. This was the 21st of September, as you can see. Now this is Bitcoin, and Bitcoin as well. Look what happened with Bitcoin. Just as forecasted, this is how we've got the moves to the downside. Whether it is cryptos, Forex, indices, whichever one, we get this right. Now this is pound AUD. Remember I showed you earlier on that pound AUD we got a trade set up for a buy here, and then it made a move to the upside here. This is after we lost this trade. Okay, this is after we lost this trade, and this is how it has gone. Right, so you'll always get this, but the important thing is that you win more than you lose, because we also got this one even after losing the downside here. Right, so that is pound AUD. This is the exact trade on pound AUD, where it was showing you where the entry was. This is after the trade to the downside has failed. Now we're looking for this one here and taking this trade to the upside, because we realized that that was actually not the way to go. So we've got that one. You can count the number of pips as well. So the idea here is to win more than you lose. This is CADCHF. CADCHF has not really gone anywhere. It has broken. It has hit the stop though. So we'll be looking for this one to make a continuation to the downside. But let's have a look at this one. I'm going to go through this one again during trade setups, because this may still make a move, a bit of a move to the upside, or even take the previous higher. If it takes this top here, that means that the direction to the downside is going to change. Right, so that was CADCHF. Pound CAD. Pound CAD is still in play, although it has not really gone anywhere, has not hit our stop, still in play here. But this trade can make a double just like pound AUD and do something like this. Doesn't matter, we'll be tracking that. That is pound AUD, pound CAD rather. Pound CAD, and beautiful trade that we've traded from entry here and to target here. This was inch perfect, very good trade. As you can see, well executed. No issues there. Stress-free trade, one of those stress-free trade. Right, so that was a nice one. Brent crude, we've already shown Brent crude. This is a new setup now. If you remember, we had a setup on Brent crude showing that we're going to have a move to the upside and then downside. Now, this is a new setup. We're looking for Brent crude to make a continuation to the downside. This is the latest one. Has not really gone anywhere, as you can see. We are still waiting for it to confirm. So someone could have said, oh, we've got a flag here. We're selling. Now, they would already be panicking because it has not dropped. That's because the indicator has not confirmed. That's why you find people saying things like there was a false breakout. There's no false breakout. It just never broke in the first place. It was just not a breakout. Right, so that is Brent crude, and that's what we're going to be looking at on Brent crude. Euro pound has not gone to target as yet, but it's going well so far. It's making this three-wave move to the downside. We're looking for that move. Already entered there. Let's see if it's going to drop and play that out. That is Euro pound. US dollar JPY, a new entry here. If you remember, we had the forecast for this one to go from here to there. That was the forecast, and this is the trade execution. We're still waiting for this one to play out. Still in a few pips profit though. That's really nothing much. It's just broken up here. We're going to be looking for this one to keep pushing up higher. That is US dollar yen. Now that is how the week went, and it was a very productive week. You can do the number of pips. I'm just estimating it has been more than 3,000 pips that we've traded in the last week. So that has been really, really good for us. So let's go into the market analysis for this week. What are we looking at next week? I'm not going to go through everything that I've already gone through. So let's just look at what we did not cover. Let's look at the US dollar pairs in a bit more detail. Let's look at the DXY. Now, if you remember the DXY last week, we expected this. I'm on the daily here. I'm on the daily. So the DXY looks to have made a 1, 2, 3 wave pullback after a drop to the downside. So let me just switch this one on here. Right, so there's nothing on the daily. I'm going to go to the 4 hourly. Let's go to the 4 hour. I want to show you what we said on the last week and how this one has changed. So last week we were expecting that this is actually a flat on the DXY and that it was going to drop as it was coming down here. This has not happened. So we've made a bit of an adjustment. So that means that was not the end of the move. This may be, let me just go to the website here and just so you can see the latest structure here on the DXY. So you can see the structure clearly on this one here. So this is clear. Now on the DXY, what we are looking for, we did look at this last week. What we thought was, it was that this is actually the end of wave 4 and we're going to get this drop to the downside, as you can see here on the DXY. Okay, so as you can see, this is not how this the DXY is played out. Instead, it made this continuation pattern here to the upside and made these 3 waves. So how do we make an adjustment here? This means that this is now, let me just have a look here. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and this could be our wave 5 with which that is ending here with a diagonal, and we're starting to make an ABC corrective structure here. Okay, so that is what we're going to be looking at in the next coming session. We've already made the 3 waves here. We've made the 3 waves. That was the corrective structure, and that is the move that we've got here. Okay, so if I just make an update here with the red degree, 1, 2, 3 here, that is ended here. Just here, this is 3. So this can even be a wave 3 here that ended here, and this will be a wave 4, and then we still go for that wave 5. Those are possibilities. So far, we've got the 3 wave move here, which is something that we're going to see here on euro and on euro US dollar as well, but on the inverse. So we'll be looking out to see if this is the wave 4. If it is not the wave 4, that means that this is the end of the wave 5, this one here, and we're starting to get the ABC move. Either way, after this bigger corrective structure, we are expecting the downside. So those are the 2 alternatives, and that's the structure that we've got there. So let's just have a look at the euro as well. Let's have a look at the euro. So the euro will be in the inverse of this. So before we go to the euro, let's have a look at the structure here. So this is the structure practically that we've made the 3 waves here. We were expecting last week that it's going to be 1, 2, 3, and then downside after making this one a wave 4. So this is actually possibly that the wave 4, and then we go for the wave 5. That is the update that we'll be looking at for the next week. Let's see how this one plays out. Will the US dollar have strength in the next week, or is this the end of the correction? That is the question that we're going to be answering when we see what happens at this stage, at these levels. Okay, so that is the DXY. Let's have a look at the euro. Maybe the euro is going to be more telling. So the euro is more telling. So looking at the euro, same thing. So the euro may have ended upside. Now, talking about the euro, I just want to talk about something quickly here. There are a number of people calling and telling me, the euro has made a head and shoulder pattern and all of those things. We don't trade head and shoulder patterns. We trade waves. Understanding there is a bit of a relationship between all these patterns and the wave theory. So what is the relationship between wave theory and people that trade patterns? Let me just show you quickly the relationship. Advantages and disadvantages. So if you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, you've got this neckline here at this level. Let me draw it cleanly. You've got what they call a neckline. So I know this because when I started trading, just like everybody else, I started trading with the trading patterns, head and shoulder patterns, flag patterns, all those patterns. So somebody will look at this one essay head and shoulder, and then the direction changes. Okay, what is this? As far as the Elliott wave theory is concerned, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then A, B, C correction. Okay, so we look at the waves, we don't just look at head and shoulder patterns, because what if this did not make a head and shoulder pattern and instead has made a correction? The correction that I've shown you there is a zigzag. What if we just make a flat correction here, an ABC? Where are you going to get your head and shoulder? You've got your head and shoulder. This is your left shoulder, supposed to be. This is your right shoulder, supposed to go down here, isn't it? But if this is a flat correction, you're not going to get that right shoulder to play out. This is going to make a move to the upside. So if you do not understand wave theory, you're always going to be losing these trades, because it is not only always going to be a zigzag. Okay, so next week I'll show you the relationship. If I remember, I'll show you the relationship between harmonic patterns and wave theory. Just a highlight. So just one here. If you know, for those who know a bed pattern, a bed pattern is something like this. It's XABCD, like this, right? And they call it a bed pattern, something like this. I'm showing you this because there's a good example of what is happening there. So this is X, this is ABCD. ABCD, right? People who trade harmonic patterns will be looking to buy here. But what is the relationship between this and wave theory? Simple. Let's show you this. Let's take this on off. Take the labelings. This is basically a simple 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, as far as the wave theory is concerned. But you're looking at this correction as a what? As a zigzag, but it does not always have to be a zigzag. So here I'm just showing you a highlight of what the drawbacks are in some of the strategies. So if you understand wave theory, you also have an understanding of what other strategies or other patterns or other pattern traders are looking at when they look at this. So you've got the overall view of how the market moves, so you understand all these patterns. So there was a similar example here on Euro US dollar here. So some were looking at this one as the right shoulder, as the head, as the right shoulder, left shoulder, head, and the right shoulder, and looking at this as a head and shoulder. In this case, you would have gotten it right if you sold it here under the neckline, sort of. So as far as the wave theory is concerned, this may be the end of the move here of the wave 3. So we've got 1, we've got 2 here, and internally here, we are looking at this one to be making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means we are done with this wave, and we are basically looking for these to be a wave 3 in the yellow degree. So not wave 3, wave 4 rather. Apologies. So wave 4 rather, we're looking for this to be a wave 4 and then upside, simply like that. Are we going to get the 4, or is this the move? So we just need to check the degree here. If this is in the same degree, that means this is the end of the move, and this is going to continue lower. So far, we have 1, 2, 3, just like we've got with the DXY. If we get a sell set up and the indicator confirms continuation, we'll be selling this up to the 50 to 61% of this whole move. Okay, so that's how we look at the structure. So just to show you what we're looking at, and just and to show you what we've got on the website here. So this is what you've got on the euro. This is what we were expecting for this one to be a wave 4. So if you're looking for the head and shoulders and all those things, we don't look at it like that. We look at the waves. It's much more accurate to look at the waves. So let's see, are we going to get this last wave 5, or is that wave 5 the end here? So we'll be looking for that in the next week. It's going to be a very interesting week, right? So let's have a look, and we'll be trading this. So either way, we'll be able to catch all these moves. So watch out for this. Very likely that we get this and continuation to the downside. How far will it go? We'll see. Right, so that is euro and the DXY. Let's continue with the rest of the pound pair. So pound US dollar, you've already seen pound US dollar. This is where we've got the trade here. We are looking for this to continue to the downside. Watch out for continuation to the downside on pound. We've already gone through this one. US dollar chief has made exactly the same structure as the DXY. It's a 3-wave move to the upside, 1, 2, 3. Is this the start of the move to the upside, or is this just a 3-wave pullback after this diagonal here? Is this going to continue to the upside? So we're going to be watching for this. We need to see what structure happens here at current levels. So if it is only a 3-wave correction, just move my annotation floating tool here. So if this is only a 3-wave correction here, we're going to be looking for this one to do this. So let's watch here whether we're going to behave, whether we're going to have US dollar strength or in the next coming week. US dollar CAD, we've already got this one through trade setups, has also made a three-wave move. Now it's a big question whether this is going to continue to the upside or we're going to get a pulsing move to confirm downside. If we're going to get downside, the three-wave move here, this is going to do this here. We're going to see this one as a correction. This one is going to start doing this, and we're going to be looking for downside. Okay, not clear at this stage. We're going to be watching that. Audi US dollar. Audi US dollar is more telling for downside, just like the euro US dollar. So look out for these pullbacks and continuation to the downside in the next week. Same as New Zealand US dollar. More downside. Looks like we're going to see more downside. Let's see if we're going to get something like this. Not all the way down, just a pullback. So we may come down here correctively. Looking at this as possible expanding flat, you can get like a structure like this here, and then continuation to the downside like this. So it can come down correctively. But for now, we're looking for continuation patterns to the downside until we see otherwise. US dollar ZAR, we forecasted this one, inch perfect. As we said, even when this was playing out this flat, when this was playing this flat correction here, we said if this one is going to come down here, check out the previous webinars on US dollar ZAR. Just go to the timestamps and check what the analysis was there on US dollar ZAR. You'll see that we said that after this flat correction, we're expecting one more down, and after this one more down, I'm expecting US dollar ZAR to go to all-time highs, back to all-time highs at about 15. Not necessarily going to go in a straight line, but if we get an entry here on US dollar ZAR, look to take it back to the all-time highs. Very interesting. So let's look at that. Pound yen. Now the yen pairs are very interesting. By interesting, I mean very clear structures. Let's have a look here on the website, what members are seeing. I'm showing you, I'm letting you in a bit of information here and what the forecast is on the yen pairs. Let's see what the yen pairs are looking like. Pound yen especially, let's have a look at the yen pairs here. So this is only available for members, guys. Right, so on pound yen, we had a setup here last week expecting downside here. Okay, so we've had this one, it has broken down. Now this correction in white is only happening now. The correction in white is only happening now, and we'll be looking for this one to make downside like that. All right, so that is pound yen. Right, so this is it has made a move to the downside, not that big a move. I'm exaggerating this. So this is what has happened. It has made a slight move here. Now we are actually making that white corrective structure. We are making that corrective structure. We are making this corrective structure, and we'll be looking for this one to come down. Let's go to the live chart here and see what this one looks like. So this is pound yen. As you can see, we have forecasted the move to the downside and then upside. We're looking for this. So this is the ABC correction that you saw in white. We'll be looking for this. There's going to be a very good trade here to the downside when this is done here. So look out for that in the next coming week. Will be a very interesting one. US dollar yen, I've already shown you this one. Now we forecasted this one. We're looking for this one to go retest the top here and make this flat. So for US dollar yen, you just look for that. Euro yen, I've shown you Euro yen and CHF yen last week and why we're expecting them to have completed upside. As much as we were looking for this one, for them to make a push to the upside, I've shown you why we're looking for them to reverse, and they've already started. Look for continuation to the downside here. Okay, we'll be updating our charts as well. So this is the view that we'll be looking at on Euro yen and CHF yen. And just go back to the daily and show you what I showed you last week. So last week there was an option. This has made this expanding flat, and we're coming down like this. This is an impulse. Now you look for a pullback and confirmation for downside. Then you'll be getting a trade possibly to around this level. That's over 1,000 pips to the downside on Euro yen. So watch out for that. Same as CHF yen. I've shown you exactly the same thing. CHF yen is also making an impulse. Now look for a pullback here on the 4-hour time frame for sells. Let's go back to the 4-hour. So the advantage that we've got is that we've got an indicator. So even if we didn't trade this move, we didn't trade this downside, doesn't really matter. We know that when we get a pullback here, we're going to have a very high probable trade that's confirmed, and then we're going to be getting the trade to the downside. That's what we're going to be looking at in the next week. So a bit of patience is required to get those structures. So if you just take it now, what if you, let's say for example, this is CAD yen, and because it's coming down, you just decide you're selling, and then it starts doing this. You don't know how far this is going to go. So maybe you can hold on and then it turns, then you're lucky. But what if that is not the view, and it's actually making a different structure, something like this, and it actually takes you out? So there is nothing, there's no such thing as a short trade. So that's why we wait for confirmation, and we never compromise on what the strategy says. We've got a specific strategy. It's a 3-point strategy. If the 3 things have confirmed, we don't ask questions, we don't make any emotional decisions. The strategy does the work. So then we're going to be selling this. That's CAD yen, so look out for continuation to the downside. Audi yen is a big impulsive move to the downside, so it's already a big move. So if you've missed this, this is already gone. So wait for a deeper corrective structure if this is going to make a continuation to the downside. That is Audi yen, and New Zealand yen the same. So New Zealand yen, possibility is that this is the structure, and if this is the structure, New Zealand yen can just come around this level. Let's see here. So it's not safe to sell New Zealand yen around this level. So wait for it to do this to confirm that it's not going to play out this flat correction to the upside. Okay, so for now, still downside until we get confirmation of upside. But watch out for this level. We can break this low here and make a push to the upside to confirm this flat correction. Silver and gold, we've already gone through silver and gold. You can look at last week's webinar and the trade setups that I've shown. Silver, we've already gone through silver. You've seen that under trade setups. So to refer to last week's video, just go and click on last week's video to check what we're looking at. All right, so just on these trade setups, guys, members also get short 5-minute videos explaining how to take these trades. Because as much as if you attended the course, we know that practically it becomes a bit challenging to take the trades. So we make these short 5-minute videos that we post for members to see, giving them guidance on how to execute these trades. Right, so that we've already gone through silver, we've already gone through Brent crude. I'm not going to go through it again. Pound chief, I've already gone through that on the trade setup, so we'll be looking for this one. So as far as pound chief is concerned, our focus was for this one to make a push to the upside. Let's see if this is not going to be a corrective structure. If this becomes a corrective structure and makes a 3-way move, it's going to change our view. But we'll just be watching this one for now. We're not going to be doing anything there. We had a setup for downside from here. We were selling pound chief, but it has hit our stop, so we leave it for now. Pound Audi showing upside. I've already gone through this one under trade setups. You can refer to trade setups. And the overall structure on this one, let's have a look here. We are in possible wave 5. So this impulsive move that is currently happening could be a bigger move like that, and we get a 3-wave pullback before we come down. So watch out for this. Even if we're coming upside, be careful with upside. It's not a complete reversal. We're looking at this as a bigger primary correction in the blue degree B. I've already gone through this one, so watch out for this one. Push-ups, push to the upside. That is pound Audi, pound CAD. We've gone through pound CAD under trade setups as well. So pound CAD, look out for this one here. It's a move up, it's a correction. We're still expecting this one to push up at least around these levels. Right, pound New Zealand, the same pound New Zealand. Pound New Zealand has made an impulsive move to the upside, just like pound Audi. Expect a correction here and then upside. Euro pound. Now Euro pound, we've got a trade setup on this one here. This is I've shown you this one here. We're looking for this one to come down here. It may do this and then push up higher. For now, we're just looking for this one to come down like this. There's also a possibility that it comes here, bounces here, and makes this correction here. But either way, that is still a corrective structure like that. A, B, and the C, and then upside. That is Euro pound. Euro Audi, you saw this one under setups, has made a move to the upside. So just check with the Euro Audi here, because this could be a flat correction that goes something like this. a move up, a correction, and a move up, and then we come down. So we'll be watching to see what happens at current levels. If you start getting continuation patterns to the downside here, this would have truncated here, and we're going to start looking for upside. EUROCAD. Now EUROCAD, it's not really going anywhere here. It's 3 waves up, 3 waves down. Is it going to make a move to the upside? Let's watch this corrective structure here. But even if we do make upside, does not look like it's going to go all the way. Looks like we're still going to come back down here. Similar way that we did come down here, and then that's going to be a bigger corrective structure. So we're not going to be worried about this long-term forecast here. Just look for the next immediate move there, but don't make, that's not necessarily a trade. Right, EUROCHF has been in this sideways corrective structure for some time now. So when this correction is done here on EUROCHF, expect this one to just at least come and take this top here with these 3 waves here. Otherwise, we've got this as a pulsing move, correction, can come take the top here, return for one, then you're gonna have a WXY corrective structure here, and then a push to the upside, and this is making this bigger corrective structure. This actually should be a wide degree here, like that. So that will be the structure that we're looking at there. Correction there. All right. That is EUROCHF, not a very clear structure, so stay away from EUROCHF for now. Euro New Zealand, I've shown you the forecast on Euro New Zealand initially, that the focus was here for this to come up here, take the top here, and continue to the downside. Check the trade recaps on Euro New Zealand. We've already gone through this one. The structure is the same for Euro, similar for EURAUD. So let me just go back one on EURAUD. So EURAUD could come down here. As much as there's a big impulse, which we focused it here, this could be coming down here together with Euro New Zealand. So let's see how this plays out in the coming session. EuroCAD, or rather AUDCAD. AUDCAD, look for pullbacks and continuation to the downside. Continuation to the downside. AUDCHF. Let's have a look at AUDCHF. You've seen this one under forecast trades setups as well. Under trade recaps, it's looking for this one to continue lower up until this level. You can check it out there. Audi New Zealand. Audi New Zealand, there's been a weakness in the Audi. So our view for upside on Audi New Zealand, we're still looking for this one to make a bigger corrective structure. Let's see if it invalidates this as a zigzag, we're going to change our view. But this is what we have here. Expect at least another 3-wave pullback here if it's going to make a structure like this. Either a 3-wave pullback that goes to 50% or one that retests the top. If it retests the top and takes here, that confirms our upside view on this. So let's just keep an eye on this one, not necessarily a trade there. I'm not looking for a trade there. New Zealand CAD, you've seen a trade there. I'm not going to go through this one here. There was a trade set up on New Zealand CAD from here, has hit target spectacularly around this level. We expect this one to continue low, much lower again with a corrective structure similar to this one. And then we'll be looking for this one to come down here. Right, so that's a very nice one to look at in the next coming week. Wait for that corrective structure to play out. New Zealand CHF. Now, New Zealand CHF, we had a trade set up here. We bought the New Zealand CHF from here, expecting it to go all the way, but it didn't. Has now gone only up to this level, out of on break even. Now, is this making a flat correction here with this impulse? Watch out for this to the upside. That is New Zealand CHF and CADCHF. Lastly, we've already looked at this one during trade recaps. So this may make a bit of a move to the upside. If we take this stop here, that's going to change the downside view, and we're going to have this one looking like a flat correction like that. Eventually, we'll still come back down with a bigger corrective structure. That is CADCHF. All right, now let's go on to the indices. The indices are very interesting and simple analysis I've shown last week. So last week we were simply looking for the indices to give us these 3-wave corrective structures, which have now played out. Now the question is whether these 3-wave pullbacks are only just pullbacks or reversals. Are we now ready for the move to the upside? So this is going to be the expectation on the indices to the upside. So this looks like a corrective structure. We were here last week coming down. We expected this one to come down. We have come down. Are we ready to make a push to the upside? Let's see what happens in the next week. So that is the expectation on the S&P 500 as well as the Dow. Let's see. We don't have confirmation for upside yet. Let's see if we're gonna be continuing to the downside or upside. But the view here is for this to break out of this corrective structure and make a push to the upside. We're gonna need to see that confirmation first. That is the Dow Jones Industrial and the Dow Jones Transportation similar. So transportation looks to have made an expanding flat like this. And we're gonna see upside here. Nothing is confirmed as yet. So we'll be waiting for them to give us corrective structure. The NASDAQ, now the NASDAQ is very interesting and it's the one that is showing more potential for upside than the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones. Now we'll be looking for the NASDAQ to do this upside. We may get one more down here before we start getting a push to the upside on the NASDAQ. So watch out the NASDAQ for continuation to the upside. Right, and then we have got UK 100. Now the UK 100 bigger structure is that when this current correction is done, when this corrective structure is done, we're gonna see upside here. We've got to move up here in 3 waves. This corrective structure, when it's done, we're gonna be looking for this one to make a push to the upside. For now, we're just watching this corrective structure, tracking and putting in the sequence on that to look for this one to eventually get a move to the upside. For now, we're just going sideways. Then we'll look for this. That is the UK 100, the DAX. DAX looks to be making this expanding flat, a bit of a push to the downside before we resume a move to the upside. So look out for this. It is not confirming upside yet, but we've got this, which is showing potential for upside. We'll wait for that confirmation to see if we're gonna get this here. Nikkei. So the Nikkei has been crawling up in a diagonal fashion. It is still looking upside, so we're still looking for this one to make a diagonal here, and then this one is going to make a deeper pullback. Okay, so that is the Nikkei. Look for it to keep crawling higher. It is still crawling to the upside. We've had a trade. We took the trade on the Nikkei when it got out of the structure, but it has not really gone anywhere. And if it's going like this, this is a diagonal. And if it's a diagonal, that is a motive wave. That means we're going to keep crawling up higher. We're going to eventually get a corrective structure before any move to the upside on the Nikkei. Right, and lastly, the Nifty. Nifty is a 3-wave pullback. It's not showing potential for upside as yet. Let's see if we're going to do this. If we do this, then that's showing us that this is going to correct up to 50 to 61% of this whole move. All right, guys, that's all I had for you this week. Trade responsibly. Don't forget to hit the notification button and subscribe. Make some comments. So any recommendations and suggestions, we'll look at that. So we'll see you next week. Cheers, everybody. And thank you for watching. Cheers. Bye-bye.